You guys want to fight?
Ooh, yes.
Let's go!
Yes.
Who would win in a fight? Just like the whole office.
Me.
I disagree.
Yep. At least I'm
Adam's
confident.
big. He's kind of soft though.
Oh God, if he's watching, he's gonna have a cow.
Probably Spano.
He's gonna come in and beat your ass.
Oh, he couldn't.
Spano's the one I would least want to fight.
Yeah, I mean, probably none of us.
That's probably
Yeah.
a safe bet.
I can definitely say I would last the longest.
What would happen if we just fought in here? 3 of us and Kale.
I'd come out on top.
All right,
Okay.
lots of fights today at Broncos training camp, but only on one side of the joint practices. Literally, what?
I think that's my, what are we calling it? This is the end of
Observation?
That's my observation of why. I think I know why.
Oh, I love that for us because I only could come up with a few ideas. There was 6 fights on one field. That's the Broncos defense going up against the Cowboys offense. There were 0 fights on the other, with the Broncos offense going up against the Cowboys defense. The Broncos are very confident, and I would back this up that they won the fights.
Yes.
And almost anyone you talk to will tell you the Broncos won the day. So we're about to break all of that down quickly. A shout out to our presenting sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Check out DraftKings Sportsbook for all the bets. Football, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this weekend. It might be preseason, but if you watch DNVR Bets Daily, preseason football is actually highly profitable.
Also, if you watch GMVR Bets Daily, you didn't hear Dre say that the Ravens have won 20 straight preseason games. You should bet them minus 180.
And they have like the best quarterback depth chart maybe in the league.
Yes.
Oof, yep, they certainly do.
So
Fun one, too.
Absolutely.
I'm taking the over in that one and the Ravens. Maybe I'll parlay those together.
There we go. You can do that at DraftKings.
You can't do that at DraftKings. You can't fight people at DraftKings. But, Zach, let's just open up with that. I want to know why you think, why there were fights on one side and not on the other. Can I give you my guess first? Or I'm like afraid that my guess is going to spoil
Give me
it.
a guess.
Okay, so one thing that Henry has been talking about all training camp.
No, it's not that. Continue.
Okay. Is that Justin Simmons has become like a talker. And Justin Simmons is the leader of the defense. And so I was thinking like him being a chirper, and I assume like Dak, isn't afraid to chirp back. Him being a chirper riled up the defense. Then, the Cowboys offense didn't want any part of that. So they, chirped back, and that's what boiled it out of control. Whereas on the other side, you have Russ, who's not a chirper. And that kind of died things down on that side.
Yeah, and in fact, after practice, we found out that Kareem Jackson was the peacemaker on defense today. If he's the peacemaker,
Opposite day?
Justin Simmons, Bradley Chubb, Draymond Jones, all those guys are going crazy.
Oh, my God.
Because Kareem Jackson said 99% of the time, I'm the one that's stirring shit up.
Yes.
1% of the time, I'm calming them down. And today was the 1% time. So that just shows you how amped up this defense was. And you said that Russell Wilson is a peacemaker, right? He'd pulled out an Andrew Luck today.
I thought you were going to say he pulled out a gun.
Whoa, no, he did not do that. There probably would have been more fights on the offensive side. He pulled out the Andrew Luck right before practice began, when the offense and defense were getting ready to go against each other. Russell Wilson went and shook every defensive player's hand.
Everybody loved everybody.
Yep. And I think that just got everyone on the same page of, okay, let's just have fun. Let's practice. Let's practice hard, but we love each other. And I think Russ shaking everyone's hand made it so, okay, we're going to be nice to each other on this field. Don't think Justin Simmons, Bradley Chubb, Draymond Jones, those guys were shaking hands before practice.
So I was kind of right.
Well, it more had to do with Russ.
Yeah, but that doesn't explain why there were 6 on the other side. That's way more than we've ever seen. In fact, I was telling Spencer and Kylie last night, because they were like, we're going to joint practices, like, hope we see some fights, which everyone should say.
Yes.
And I was like, man, I think it'll happen. But in the past, there's always 2 days of joint practices. And day 1 is usually pretty calm, whereas day 2 is when all the fights break out because, you've got a whole day and they read the media. Someone sees that the media saying they got killed by someone else and they want to go get their revenge the next day. It's one of the rare things in football because that doesn't normally happen in real life where you get to see them 2 days in a row. And this time we didn't either. So, Zach, what's your theory on why it was so out of control on the defense side.
Well, look at the defense. I mean, they're confident, especially going up against Russ, having a lot of optimism, and they wanted to show that they can dominate another. So they just came out, and also I think it's a Nathaniel Hackett effect of just getting so pumped up every single day in practice, and then you're just on an extra level when someone comes into town.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's Bradley Chubb leading the way. Like, Bradley Chubb at one point just took his helmet off and went in and started some stuff. He was involved in like all those. Malik Reed at one point just threw down a lineman, jumped on top of him, and I'm not sure if he got any like real connections in, but he was definitely swinging the arms around for a second before everybody just kind of jumped on top, dogpile style. Mike Purcell got himself into a couple of those. There was one that was going on when Purcell just kind of like ran into like this group of Cowboys who was just kind of watching the other fight and ripped the helmet off and then tossed it 15 yards down the field. So, I mean, you can look in at the individuals and all that, and they want to fight.
Speaking of Mike Purcell, he was feeling it afterwards as well. Tim Patrick tweeted out, updates on joint practices, please. Mike Purcell quote tweeted it and said, we handled business with the flex.
Yeah. My favorite was DJ Jones right after practice tweeting, I love this team.
Yeah.
It's like, that's about the fights. that's about like maybe not the fights, but the attitude of that defense.
Yeah, I think it's about the defense having each other's back.
Totally.
Because every time something would come up, the defense, the rest of the players were right there.
And Zach, I couldn't help all day but harken back to the joint practices against the 49ers, the first year of the Vic Fangio era, where after the first day, you and I came on here and we were like, yikes. Yeah. The 49ers brought all the energy. Yeah. The Broncos had no idea what hit them.
Yep.
And I even I was just reading back on some old stuff today. I guess I'm like a nihilist in that way.
You're a historian.
Yes. I saw a quote from Philip Lindsay that was like, we approached today like a practice and they approached it like a game. And it was just like,
perfect.
How do you let that happen?
Yeah.
Like, you're on your home turf. And that was something that came up after practice. I think it was Bradley Chubb who said something along the lines of like, these are our stomping grounds. We have to protect it at all costs.
That was a really forced narrative by some media members. Just to be fair. Yeah. He did give a good quote, though.
I love the inside scoop there. But I just liked seeing that. And from the jump, I saw energy from the Broncos that I didn't see that year. And I was like, well, this is going to be better. And from start to finish of practice, I really felt like the Broncos were bringing the fight literally and figuratively to the Cowboys.
Without a doubt. And the offense did it on the field as well. They just didn't get the extracurriculars. I think the one fight that the Broncos lost, and maybe they didn't lose because there were no actually punches
like 5-1
swung. Yeah, I think it was 5-1, was Marquise Spencer gets driven to the ground by an offensive lineman, and I'm talking 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I didn't even see what happened in the play, but somehow he ended up 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and the offensive lineman, way bigger than him, just kind of standing over him. So Marquise gets up, gets in a boxing stance, and treats him like a punching bag. I'm not even kidding you. Squares up, boom, 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 boom. 5 punches kind of right to the belly. The offensive lineman is just kind of looking down on him, not moving, not reacting. And then, the Cowboys, other players come over and kind of push him around and stuff. But I was like, oh my gosh, this Cowboys offensive lineman must be huge.
Took it.
Yeah, took it. Did not like it was like a 3-year-old. Your 3-year-old niece coming up to you and punching you, and you're just like, oh, this is kind of funny.
Well, and the other thing Kareem Jackson said after practice, like somebody said, why do you think there's so many fights? And he said, well, if you fight in a game, you're gonna get suspended. If you fight out here, like what? Maybe you get booted for 3 plays. But 3 plays later, you're back on the field anyway.
Sounds like Derek Wolfe quote.
Was it Marquis Spencer who got I saw a coach just pointing to the locker room?
Could have been, because these were the actual, a couple of them were skirmishes where you can't really see if punches are thrown. A couple of them maybe one, but it was legitimately 5 punches. So if anyone was thrown out of practice, it would have been for that.
Wow. Yeah, it was electric out there.
Yeah.
And I was up on the hill, and I have to say I've never seen anything even close. Did they come out with an attendance?
They did. I'm not buying it, but I don't know why they would undersell it. 6,800.
No, and they said 9,000 on
for Welcome
7?
Back Saturday. Yeah, it was 7,200.
When I tell you, it's not even close. It's not even close. There was thousands more people there today. In fact, just from the second that I got near practice, I was like, wow, this is insane. I was stopped about halfway up Potomac before you could even turn onto Broncos Parkway, just waiting for like an hour. Like I was like, luckily for me, I was a little antsy this morning. Like, your clock is set to that 10 a.m. practice. And so like I was just ready to go. I'm like, I'm just going to leave and go like walk around or whatever.
Some of the other media members were saying they were turning people away, which I don't know if that's true, but that could affect the numbers if they're saying, actually, no, you can't come in.
Yeah, the line when I got, and I finally parked, in the desert, and I walked up there, the line went all the way around the field house and then all the way back towards that desert lot. And like I don't normally do this, but I had to pull the media card to like get into practice before it started.
He's not one of the people anymore.
He is not.
Wow.
And then I just like there were no spots in my spot, which crazy that like no one honored that.
You didn't pull the media card again on whoever was sitting in your spot?
No, I just went to my spot and I was like, hey, do you guys mind making some room? And they were like, no. So I slid in like I'm just one, it's like a single and a chairlift.
Yeah.
So it was crazy though. Like I really thought I don't know if you saw my tweet. I thought there was going to be a fight on the hill.
A lot of Cowboys fans from my perspective.
Yes, a lot of Cowboys fans. They were talking like there were more than there really were. I would say 70-30 Broncos.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. I did see a lot of orange.
Yeah, exactly. And it is hard because a lot of Cowboys fans are wearing blue, so it's hard to pick them out unless they're being mouthy like a lot of them are. But that's why I thought there should be a fight, because they were trying to like give this like, oh, we took over your training camp thing. Right. So like starting "Let's Go Cowboys" chants and like yelling, just like chirps. And I was like, it is so hot up here, and everyone is in here so tight that someone's gonna like. I thought that maybe like there would be a fight on the field that would
bleed over.
Yeah, like someone's like, kick his ass, and he's like, I'll kick your ass, So I was a little worried about that because like I tweeted, I'm like, Cowboys fans are insufferable. Like they think that they're like something. Yeah. It just makes no sense. Yeah. Especially when you're on Broncos turf and they haven't beat the Broncos since 1995. Henry was not alive.
No, I was not.
The last time the Cowboys beat the Broncos on a football field.
Yep. Streak continued today.
And the streak continued today.
Yep.
So
really quick, the only time I heard Cowboys fans and was like, damn, was Jerry, Jerry. And I first thought, oh my God, is it that like Jerry Judge show or
Jerry
something?
Springer.
Jerry Springer. It shows you how much cable TV I watch. And then I was like, oh damn, is it for Jerry Judy? And I was like, oh no, damn, there's Jerry Jones.
It's quite possible that Cowboys fans were chanting for Jerry Jones and Broncos fans thought Judy and just started chanting.
They all united. That's what saved the fights.
Yes, it did. That's what brought everyone together. Cowboys fans have a weird obsession with Jerry Jones. Like, I thought they didn't like him because he was like meddling and everything, and
not making them win championships.
Like I heard like one person was like, Jerry Jones is signing autographs over there, and like 12 Cowboys fans like jumped out of their seat to run down there. I was like, whoa.
Even like with all the media people from Dallas, like they have this weird thing where it's like, oh look, there's Jerry. It's like, as they used to say, like Jerry's bigger than football. Like Jerry's bigger, and it's like nobody really cares about Jerry Jones. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you.
He's like the butt of a joke for everyone else.
Yeah, but when you think of the Cowboys, what do you think of? Like, you think of Jerry Jones.
Totally. Yeah. But that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah, and he did a great job. Yes. He did a great job. Okay, so Henry, this reminds me of something that I wanted to talk about on the pod yesterday, but I forgot.
I had something too.
It was that thing.
Here we go.
When I say this name in reference to the Broncos.
You're standing at practice.
Yep.
Just looking out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say Peyton
Manning.
Boom. There we go. Let's go.
You got to understand the context here.
No. That was the context.
No, first
Standing
of all,
in practice.
George Payton had just walked out. So, like, he was on my mind, and I watched him walk over to John Elway and start talking to him. And then he goes, oh, there's Peyton. And he's, like, pointing over there. I'm like, no, he's over there. And he's like, no, Peyton Manning. I'm like, okay, yes.
I had to ask a couple of other media members today, and they thought...
Of course, everyone thinks Peyton Manning first, but George Payton was top of mind for him because he's right in front of me. Anyways, let's jump into some of our observations. I don't know if you guys can see double-sided notes, not double-spaced, double-sided. We've got offense on one side, defense on the other side. And there's a lot to talk about. So let's start with the offense. Which Zach and I caught every offensive play. Henry caught every single defensive play, and then both of us got some defense. So sorry, Henry, if you're gonna be a little bit of an observer on this part.
Take a quick nap.
Yeah, okay, cool. Like, make sure you're dialed in for the next segment.
Okay, let's just zoom in on us right now.
Yeah,
Just kick it out.
cut Henry out of this.
Hey.
So, first pass of the day gets things going, and it's a little post corner route from Cortland Sutton. Not even that open, and Russ just puts it in a perfect place where Court fully extends. Doesn't have to leave his feet, but gets both arms fully extended, catches it. Probably 20-yard gain or so, and it just felt like...
I'd say up.
Okay,
more. Yeah.
25. And it was just like, okay, here we go. Very next pass. It's Montrell Washington who sits down in his own. Russ just unleashes a laser, hits him right in the stomach. First down there. Very next pass after that, it's my boy.
Your fourth string boy.
My boy with the
fifth
ones
string.
on the first series of practice. Eric Saubert for another first down. And that was it for that series. So it was just like 3 for 3, bang, 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 first down, first down, first down. Here we go, Russ.
3
Real
for
quick
3,
on that
2
note.
big plays.
After practice, Russ was asked about Albert Okwuegbunam, and then the answer transitioned into Eric Saubert. Like, he was like, yeah, he's been really good. And then I was like, Eric Saubert also.
I think he also
My
threw
boy.
in Dulcich. I think he threw
Did
in
he?
Tom.
I think that was a separate question.
I think he threw in everyone, just like he did when he was asked about Cortland Sutton. He brought in Jerry. He brought in Hinton. I mean, that's what Russ does.
That's what he was doing in practice, too, involving everyone.
He really was. And Ryan, so he started hot. But then in that period as well is when the running game got going as well. First run, a little nondescript. Second run, though, Javonte Williams has a fantastic cutback. The entire offensive line's going to the left. He reads it right when he gets the ball, cuts to the right, and this could have been a 70-yard touchdown in a game potentially because he had 1 to 2 guys to beat. He was definitely getting past one, and he may have got past the second. It was what I love to see about that. We know Javonte can break tackles, especially against defensive backs, but the vision. Yes. That's something that lacked a little bit last year. Love seeing that.
I don't know if this is a natural thing that you just start learning the more you do it, or if it's legitimately something he's worked on. But his cuts today were the best they've been all camp, night and day. And if I was going to do an overreaction of the day, it's like, oh, he's ready for this offense. Some point in the last week, he turned the corner in terms of the zone running scheme and the cutback and the vision because he looked dialed today.
Mm-hmm. He certainly did. And then Russ had an incompletion to
Jerry.
Yeah, he did have Jerry.
It was just one. He needed half a second more time. It was like pocket kind of collapsed on him, so he did like a little step back flip of the arm, and Jerry coming on the crosser had no one within 20 yards of him and just sailed it.
So who you put that on? It sounds like you're not putting it on Russ.
It's on the offensive line.
Okay. He had an open receiver. I think he should have hit him.
Yeah, I mean, literally half a second more, it's a touchdown maybe.
Then an incompletion to Brandon Johnson. He just tried to get it in a tight middle of the field where there was a lot of coverage, incomplete. And then we go to about the 20-yard line, Ryan, and the defense or the offense is going about 80 yards, and a little more struggles there.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the period in which he threw the only interception of practice, and it was not his fault.
Yeah.
The weird thing is kind of a tough practice for Brandon Johnson. He's coming across the middle and just not looking for it. I don't know if he just expected to get to a further part of his route, but he's dragging across the field, and Russ gets pressure in his face, so he just throws it right at Brandon Johnson, who is not looking, gets a hand up, hits off his hand, off his helmet, straight up in the air, pick.
Yeah, it went right through his hands. He should have had it, but like you said, kind of a last-minute thing. But the good thing is that was his only interception of practice today, and it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, 100%. And really, I wouldn't even say he put the ball in harm's way there, and he didn't put the ball in harm's way in any other moment in practice.
No, he certainly didn't. In red zone, there was nothing about harm's way. This is where Russ got cooking, and he was hot. You had it actually started with probably the worst play in the red zone, where Russ threw a corner fade to Jerry Jeudy, but there was great coverage by the Cowboys, so there was really no chance of it being caught. Pretty much every other throw, Ryan went for a touchdown.
Yeah, and I thought Jerry actually could have caught that. It would have been a great catch. But it was a contested ball, one-on-one. Ball was either any man's ball, 50-50, and I didn't love it from Jerry. Like,
Okay,
I
and
thought
you
he
had a
could've made the
better
play.
angle on that one than
Wow,
me.
look at you
From
admitting
my
that.
angle, it looked like it was smothering coverage.
It was great coverage.
Okay.
It was great coverage. Not taking anything away. I just like wanted to see Jerry go get it.
Fair. I like that. And Jerry did go get it a little bit later, but then the Kendall Hinton show started where Russ just, threw what I thought was the biggest laser of the day from him in the red zone. Kendall was on, was in very tight coverage, and Russ threw it right there, and Kendall got into the end
I
zone.
love that sound. Like when he just rips one and then it hits the shoulder pads and it pops. Like that is music to my ears. And yeah, maybe my favorite play of the day was not even a difficult throw from Russ. But it was just a great design. Jerry Jeudy rips across the formation, coming in motion, and snap, toss out to Jerry in the flat. You've got a blocker out there. The corner or whoever was covering him coming across the formation can't get there. They get caught up in the mesh, and Jerry just jumps into the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah, honestly, Nathaniel Hackett deserves a touchdown for that play. Albert O deserves the play of the day, in my opinion, for
Play
the
of
very
camp, maybe.
next play. Play of camp?
I thought so.
I love it. Albert O's in the end zone. He's streaking to the right. Russ throws the ball.
There's no window.
Right.
Nowhere to put this ball.
Very good defense. So Russ puts it out in front. Albert tips it to himself, but tips it too much to himself where it goes over his shoulder. So he completely flips around, tips it to himself again. Then as he's falling, the ball lands in his lap as he finishes his complete 360. So 2 tips to himself.
I think 3.
Falls down. 3 tips to himself, falls down, catches it as he did a 360. It was an incredible play.
And never put any hand on the ball other than his left hand. So
right.
left-handed tip out in front of him, spins around, left-handed tip to himself again, kind of completes the 360, left-handed tip into his body where he pins it. It was just like, wow, the concentration on that. And Russ trusted him there, like just said like, I'm going to put this out onto your hand because there's nowhere else. Everything else was covered. So Russ is like, I'm flipping this out onto your hand, like you have one hand, make the play, and he did.
And Alberto's got a lot of praise in the past couple of days, a little bit from Russ today, and also Hackett saying it took him a while to learn the offense, but now he's got it and he's really showing it, and I think they're finally showing trust in him. And then the next play was another Kendall Hinton touchdown. This is one that's actually on Broncos Twitter. They've tweeted it out. It was just a perfect corner fade to Kendall Hinton. Kendall had about a 2-step separation, made the catch. It was perfect.
Well, and it was normally you'd call it post corner, but it was so close, I guess I would call it slant corner because the play is all moving right. Everyone's going right. And Kendall Hinton just comes 1 step in and then back to the back pylon. He was wide open after the break, and Russ just dropped it in perfectly.
Yeah, I think Kendall Hinton is having just a fantastic past week. Yep. And then the red zone period ended with an incomplete pass to Jerry Jeudy.
Yep. And then not too much action after that until you get to the move the ball period. Also, something we saw for the first time all day today was a move the ball period that didn't start on its own side, on your own side of the field. We got to move the ball from the 25-yard line. That was maybe my favorite part of practice because it was the plays were perfectly staggered. So it was just like play on offense, play on defense, play on offense. Both teams ended up kicking a field goal. Although that's where we'll talk about that later because that was a defensive one. But Jerry almost made an incredible catch. Maybe one of the ones that you could review to get a first down on like 3rd and 3. Nowhere to go. Russ just runs out of the pocket, slings it to him. Full extension, makes the catch, tries to drag both feet. The ref says he didn't get both down.
Yep, exactly. And then there was a move the period that actually started on the Broncos side of the field. And that one, we'll get to the defensive one in just a second. But on the offense, they were able to get into a long field goal range.
Yep.
Essentially.
And made it.
They made it, but my biggest bummer of the day, not a big surprise, Micah Parsons tore up the offensive line here. For the most part, the offensive line did a fantastic job outside of this series. And really, it was Calvin Anderson who gave up back-to-back would-be sacks. So likely, the drive does not end in a field goal. The drive ends in the Broncos punting the ball or time running out if it's the end of the first half. Calvin Anderson was beat on back-to-back plays. And Micah Parsons, he's that good.
Yep.
So it's not like I don't want to bash Calvin too much for that, but it would have been potentially game-changing drives, but definitely series-ending drive right there.
And, he's going to be playing Joey Bosa. He's going to be playing, Frank Clark, I guess, is in the best shape of his life. He's going to be playing.
Give me a break.
Hey, I'm I'm actually kind of scared of that one. But yeah, I mean,
Russ today said he's in the best shape
Max
of his
Crosby.
life.
Everyone is in the best shape of their life right now.
Anytime you ask him a question,
Yeah,
yeah.
except me.
Wow,
yeah,
honest.
actually me as well.
Yeah, that's the camp. Camp gets me every time.
I'm in the best shape of my life.
Wow, impressive. Camp resistant. I guess overall thoughts on the offense. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. I got to give credit to Kelvin Joseph, corner for the Cowboys. I looked over there and I saw Cortland Sutton matched up on him several times, and I just kept thinking like, this dude's cooked. And other than short stuff, like Cortland was able to beat him on a couple different slants. Every time they tried to do that fade route up the sideline that has just, terrorized Ronald Darby all camp, Joseph was in perfect coverage. And the throws, I've seen Russ make better throws on that route, but number one, Kelvin Joseph, like keep an eye out for him. I think he's legit.
It's a very good tidbit. I guess I don't really like hearing that, but it doesn't really matter since the Broncos don't play the Cowboys. My overall impressions of the offense was, at the end of the day, it matters how you do in the red zone. And the Broncos dominated the red zone today. So Broncos won because of that. Little disappointed at the move the ball period. And I am worried in obvious pass situations, especially like Henry said, you're going to be going up against very dominant pass rushers all season. How the line, specifically the right side of the line, holds up to that. And Nathaniel Hackett, instead of Albert O being on the field as a pass catcher when you're in the 2-minute, he may have to have Andrew Beck as a fullback to help out the right side, or even Eric Tomlinson, because you're going to have to just not ignore that, because unfortunately Calvin Anderson's a good swing tackle, but today going up against a really good pass rusher, that the Broncos would not have scored there. So that does concern me. But overall, red zone's where it matters most, and the Broncos dominated.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, it's so hard to discuss these plays on a podcast, and really just ever in training camp. It's even hard to write about them, anything. And that's the running game. It's just, you never know how long anything is. You never know. Like, there's a couple pops that you can be sure of, but I feel like if this was a game, just like last year, Javonte Williams would have ran all over the Cowboys, and it would have completely altered the game. Like, if you can't stop a team from running, you're losing every time.
And we'll get to it, but that was not the vibe on the defensive field.
Right, exactly. So, to me, that would be the number one thing if you were going to say, like, it was close from the passing. Okay, well, maybe the red zone gets it close to a win. The running game makes it a definitive win for me. Javonte looked the best he has in camp for me by a long shot.
Oh, without a doubt. I completely agree. Javonte was certainly the best version we've seen him, and especially knowing what he can do when you actually can tackle, and that's what's super exciting. And what's super exciting is you can bet on Javonte Williams over, under. Nice. You may want to take the over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Maybe you get in on a little Nik Bonitto sacks if you can get that going.
I'm
Bradley
so
Chubb
excited.
sacks. We'll jump into the defense in just a second, but you got to get in DraftKings Sportsbook. Looking at week 1 of the NFL season, just a month away. But you can get in on preseason. Like Ryan said, we got games, the next 4 days of preseason football. We got Broncos, Cowboys. With how today went, maybe you want to take the Broncos, although we'll talk in a little bit just how many starters are going to play. But at DraftKings, you can get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Let's say you want to put $1,000 on a preseason game. If that does not hit, you get $1,000 in a free bet back to bet. And if you only want to do $10, you can do that. That's for new customers over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Also, guys, need more of you coming to this tailgate. I know you're going to the game, so we need you guys RSVPing for the tailgate. It's going to be an absolute blast. You're getting a first look at what our whole new tailgate setup is going to be this year. And I feel like I shouldn't have to sell other than unlimited Breck Brew, unlimited Mile High City sliders.
Well, and we know you're coming to this game because typically preseason games sell in the 50s. They already got 60,000 over 60s and sold. So,
and
where are you?
At the same time, most expensive preseason ticket in the league.
Wow.
This game this weekend.
I believe that. I mean, Broncos, Cowboys.
Yeah, and
new quarterback.
Obviously, it starts with the Russ effect.
Yep.
But then it's also just Cowboys fans. Like, to their credit, they're everywhere. They have nothing to be proud of for like 30 years, but they still support them.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention this. 2 Cowboys fans sitting next to me, very chill.
Oh, so you don't want to punch him?
No, I didn't. Not even a little bit.
No punchable faces?
No, really nice guys.
Weird.
New DNVR had come to the bar for Avs games, so
Okay.
respect.
So there it is.
Okay, respect. There we go.
Well,
yeah,
that-
exactly.
that- no, that didn't
makes sense.
Okay.
It didn't come out until the very end when they legitimately said, "Why are you taking such diligent notes?" And I was like, "Oh, I have
Big
a
fan.
podcast." And they were like, "Oh, who's it for?" DNVR. Oh, we've been to the bar. So,
Oh, nice. Love to hear it.
Wow. Did they ask for your autograph?
no.
RG was signing some autographs yesterday.
Yes. Did you hear this?
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, he always goes and takes
Yeah,
video
yeah.
of them signing autographs. Someone asked for his.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yes.
And I was did they know who you were? He's like, yeah, because I've been in those scenarios where
Right.
a little kid's like, hey, can I get your autograph? You're like, no, dude.
You're on the other side of the rope. Can I have your autograph? Yeah. Also, Breckenridge Brewery. RK already mentioned it, but you can come drink a bunch of Breckenridge beers on Saturday. I wish I had a few of those during practice today.
Oh my
it's
God.
so hot
Is
out
it
there.
100 degrees out there today?
I know it was pushing the record. I don't know if it actually did, but pushing the record.
Yeah.
Longest time in the sun for me, by the way.
I was going to say, also, this was the latest practice, so that meant more time in the heat and sun.
Only time all camp I had to buy a water.
Wow.
Yeah.
No free water?
They do have big canteens, but you have to have something to put it in.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Saturday, 97 degrees in Denver.
Shit.
We're going to be out there all day tailgating. You're going to need those beers to hydrate. It'd actually be irresponsible not
And
to drink
water.
a bunch of Breckenridge. Wrong. It'd be irresponsible not to drink a lot of Breckenridge brews on Saturday.
I love the feeling of being hot and buzzed. It just feels like vacation or something.
Yes.
You must love summer.
Yeah. RK is going to have a good time on
Yes,
Saturday.
I am.
But even if you're not coming to the tailgate, still get your hands on a bunch of those because they're really good, and that's the way you should spend these super hot summer days while we still have them. Use the beer locator, breckbrew.com, put in your zip code, click on whatever you want to try, and it will tell you where to go.
There you go. All right. Shall we shift to the other side?
Defense.
Where-
Henry, welcome back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice
Yep.
to see you.
Thank you.
Actually, Ryan, let's just keep talking.
Okay.
No, I am talking about Nik Bonitto. That man is unbelievable. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, Nik Bonitto got a sack. That's fun. And then he goes and does it again, and you're like, oh, best day for Nik Bonitto. And then he gets a third one, and you're like, oh boy, this is the story. And then he closes it out with another sack at the end. 4 sacks for Nik Bonitto, 2 of them against Dak Prescott. It's a big day. I mean, he's had 1 or 2 sacks all of camp.
Yeah, he's been quiet.
0 against first team.
And today
Yes.
it was Nik Bonitto. That means pretty.
I think Bonitto does too, but also a man.
Maybe in Italian?
No, I think Spanish. I'm kind of
Do we
an
need to
expert.
call
Not
Dre
with-
in here?
Oh, 2 T's makes it tough.
Yeah, exactly. The 2 T's.
But I don't think that's how it is with the.
Anyways, very
yeah.
pretty sacks.
Yeah, you just, it's so weird. I don't know how to contextualize this because it's there was the Nik Bonitto hype train. Not only hadn't left the station, they weren't even selling tickets for it yet.
No. In fact, I
And-
heard a media member yesterday say he's going to be a massive bust.
Wow.
That was behind the scenes. But yes.
Of course, yeah. I want to hear who said that. But by the way, it's important to keep in mind he's a second round pick.
Yep.
It's very different
yeah.
than the first draft pick the Broncos
Yep.
have had
Late
in years
second
past. You can't put the same expectations on him that you would have on Bradley Chubb or anything. But with that being said, there was 0 Nik Bonitto hype. Didn't exist. And then today, the train just left the station, and now it's
gone.
it's off. It's just running off the rails, out of control.
Yep.
How could you not, in the most real football we've seen since he's been here, he puts up 4 sacks, 2 on the first team
Yes.
starting offense for the Cowboys. How could you not? How am I supposed to tell people don't be excited about this?
Well, I've gotten answers because it's only happened once, and so I'm certainly riding the train, letting it go. But my foot's over the brake, just trying to be a realist here because we haven't seen it against the Broncos first team. We haven't really seen it against the Broncos second team, so it makes me question. Is Dallas's offensive line really bad, or at least the side he was going up against that bad? And if their first team's that bad, their second team's going to be that bad as well. Because then on the flip side, Bradley Chubb was also doing a great job. I mean, it wasn't just a
He does that,
one-man
though.
wrecking show. Of course he does that. But it wasn't just Bradley Chubb who had 0 sacks last year. So it just trying to be realistic.
Oh, yeah.
No.
And I'm just saying that maybe the consistency isn't necessarily there yet, but What I am excited about is maybe there's a game that Bradley Chubb is out for one game with a little rolled ankle or something to touch with it. That's why I said one game, though. And Nik Bonitto comes in and has a 3-sack game. And the rest of the season, he has 3 sacks, then he ends with 6 sacks, something like that. I love seeing an explosion.
I'm not saying, like, all of a sudden I'm like, he's a Hall of Famer, but I'm just saying, like, it's hard not to get excited over a day like this with a guy who essentially is a giant ball of potential. And you're just like, he does the thing that is the most valuable thing that any defender can do, which is he jumps off the ball really quickly. Mm-hmm. And when someone saw that today, it's like when a pitcher comes in that's throwing 103 and then a lineup hasn't seen it, and they're just like befuddled.
Yeah.
An offensive line that hadn't seen Nik Bonitto's jump saw him today, and it was a massive issue for them.
And Nik Bonitto said, in his own words, that, you know, he's been going up against Garrett Bowles. He's been going up against Calvin Anderson, 2 of the best tackles in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, he's been going up against 2 of the best tackles in the NFL, and now he was playing against those guys, and he was able to let loose.
Well, it's smart. I mean, it's smart for him to say that.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me, did you see the Jordan Davis quote?
About Steph?
No.
Oh, no, it's Mike Jones, sorry.
Yeah, no, Jordan Davis is the rookie for the Eagles, the big DT from Georgia.
Yep.
And he had the video last week where he legitimately put an offensive lineman on skates. I don't know. Did you see that?
No.
Just like as if he was a sled. Just pushed him straight back.
He's so strong.
Yeah, and so like everyone's freaking out over that. And they're like, what's it like just to like have that and it go viral? He's like, I actually hate it. Because I think his name's Cam. He's like, Cam and I have been having great battles all camp. Like, he's a great player, and I hate that everyone is like dogging on him because I had one good play against him.
That's really cool.
Oh, wow, that's the
really cool.
best quote I've heard from a rookie all year.
He's been like the best rookie in training camp so far across the league.
Anyways, I like seeing Nik Bonitto give his guys credit like that. One of those 2 things might be true. We don't fully know about Garrett Bowles.
One of the 2 might.
Yes, exactly. But I really do think there's something into like the not having tape thing. Now, that doesn't necessarily work, right? Like now the tapes, or at least very soon, the tape's going to be out there. And so like they're going to know you have one move. It's speed rush. But at the same time, it's just it's really exciting to see a rookie who had no fanfare to this point go out there against a different team and give them absolute fits.
And so here's so really quick. Here's where I can see where I want to see the consistency and can truly let my foot off the brake.
Saturday.
Is he's going to have plenty of time in preseason.
Oh,
exactly, Ryan. Saturday,
Yep.
next week against Buffalo, the following week against Minnesota. If he comes out, then this train's off and running.
I think Nik Bonitto, you can't bet on this, but if you could bet on who the leader in preseason sacks will be,
Wow.
Bonitto
I think Jonathan Cooper
would be
might have
solid.
had that last year.
Yeah. Like when you're one of the backups, but you're really good,
Really
still at what
you
you
have
do.
one like
Exactly.
elite. I think he has one elite skill.
He did also say, I asked him, and he said they saw some things on tape. Like they had some things on those tackles that they thought would work, and he said like, yeah, I was able to just do those things we said.
Now, the Broncos really did study the Cowboys here. And I don't know how the Cowboys approach this, but I know in years past with the Broncos staff, they wouldn't do any scouting work on the teams that they were playing. So I'm very curious to see did the Broncos have a ridiculous advantage because they scouted and the Cowboys didn't? Or are the Broncos that much better at scouting and practicing and the team than the Cowboys?
Kind of looked like that was a strategy during the season, too.
Not scouting.
Yeah, just like, we'll just show up and see what happens.
We do what we do. It doesn't
2nd
matter
and
what
8,
they
let's
do.
run.
I mean, sounds like Mike McCarthy, who, by the way, babysat Nathaniel Hackett as a kid.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that because he coached with?
His dad, must
Yeah.
be, yeah.
Okay, that is crazy.
Imagine trying to schedule a joint practice with your
Yeah.
old babysitter.
Yeah.
Mine would not be good at that.
Your babysitter?
Yeah, they could not coach a football team.
I had lots of different babysitters. Favorite one was Amanda. Who knows where she is today?
Who's to say? Coaching football?
I randomly ran in. Like I don't know how this is possible.
Yeah.
I'm back in the desert lot, just trying to get some air conditioning while you guys are at the podium, and I'm sitting in my car, and a woman gets into the car next to me, and she's like, "Roll your window down." And I'm like, "Oh, must be a fan of the pod."
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you Ryan?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, oh, I went to elementary school with your sister. And I was just like, whoa, how did you do that?
Did you have any idea who she was?
No. She was like, oh, like, yeah, Lisa and I went to elementary school together. Tell her Kira said hi. And I was like,
wow.
how did you
Just Facebook
So
Messenger or something.
To troll
What did he
her,
say?
did you say, okay, nice to meet you, Kayla?
No.
Oh, no? Because you did that. You did that to your sister's friends.
Only to boyfriends.
Oh, only to her boys'
okay.
friends. Okay.
Anyways, Nik Bonitto, awesome. What else?
Let's keep going with that kind of thing. Bradley Chubb also incredible. Like he had a sack off the edge. He was in the backfield blowing things up. There's a video going around. Mike Purcell like blew through the line, got his hands on Ezekiel Elliott. Bradley Chubb keeps running and gives him a little shoulder and sends him flying. And somehow that did not start a fight.
So there's only one takeaway from the fact that
Yep.
everything else started a fight,
Yep.
and that didn't start a fight, is the Cowboys don't like Zeke. Like, no one had his back.
Or they realize that Bradley Chubb is just someone not to mess with in a fight. I mean, I can buy the Zeke thing, though.
Yeah, it's just they're just like,
Pretty easy.
yeah, F that guy.
The Justin Simmons great play in the end zone, which we can debate what it was later on. Bradley Chubb a half step from Dak. And it's like, I don't think, like, maybe he gets a hand on him as he's throwing. He's not getting the sack, but he's right there. There was a lot of that.
Russell Wilson was on the ground twice today. Did not like that.
Yeah, I don't
Like
that at
actually
all.
on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, I thought there should be a fight based on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dak was not on the ground.
Oh.
Dak was never
So
on the
then
ground.
Garrett Bowles didn't live up to his promise.
What,
That's my
I think it was more like he just fell from like getting pushed. Like, you know, people got pushed back into him. He like jumped, throw, and just like falls down or whatever. But
Punched
still.
the ground or something.
Yeah. Seriously.
He went down for a reason. Hit
some
him if he's the
grass
reason he fell.
Anyways,
Yeah, I mean, that entire defensive line, like they were shutting down the run game all the way through. There were a couple, I think there were 2 decent runs from Zeke, and those are the ones where it's like, there's like a little lane up the middle, it kind of like curves, and it's like, yeah, he was able to get through there. It's like guys are getting hands on him. It's Zeke, he probably breaks those. None of them are going more than like a dozen yards, and for the most part, he was getting hit by the line of scrimmage. You know,
I mean, really quick, Henry. That
Yeah.
one just reminds me of the Jerry Jeudy one a couple days ago, where like some people thought he could have scored, but
they
there's
never put
no
the
way.
video out.
There's a reason for that.
there's a
That's
reason.
probably why there's not a video of the Justin Simmons thing either.
Yep.
Matt Henningsen had a couple of tackles for loss. Like
What
like,
a week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all of his are very loud plays. Like when he makes a play, it's like, was he just untouched because it's been half a second and he is touching the running back in the backfield?
Yeah, maybe he has like a nice little swim move that just gets right through.
I think he may just diagnose defenses better than any other defensive lineman in the NFL because he's that smart.
Why?
Because he's super smart.
Engineer,
He's
yeah.
like the what's the space engineering? It's an insane
Aerospace
type. Yeah,
engineering?
there we
we
go.
don't even know the
yes.
word. We don't even know
Yes,
the word for what he
aerospace
does.
engineer.
He's so smart. We don't even know the
He's a
the
space
word.
science guy, yeah. But no, he had a couple of those. Mike Purcell had a couple. I said that.
Yep.
Did he rip someone's helmet off and throw
Yes.
it, or was the helmet just on the ground and he
It was
threw
on his head. I was just watching. It was in my line of sight, and I was like, "Oh, there's Mike." Boom, and yeah, and I said on the takeaways video, you kind of like bowled it, and I had it as like 6 yards of carry, another like 12 or so on the ground.
Nice.
It was pretty crazy. That's the kind of thing like you just don't see.
because it'll get you ejected.
Well,
Exactly.
Yeah.
basically everything that happened on that side would get you ejected.
It's true.
The guys were doing like a gun to the head celebration. Like,
Actually,
yes, I
oh
was
my
like,
god,
not to their own either.
no
Yes.
way.
Yes.
When the guy's on the ground,
No, and he's like walking back to the line of scrimmage. I was like,
God.
fined, ejected, suspended.
We learned a lot about
Canceled.
that defense today.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's social media.
Yeah.
That is a
destroyed.
mean defense.
Yeah, and you know we've kind of joked a little bit about like Draymond Jones not liking the media. He might just not like anyone.
Yeah, that's true. Unless
Yeah.
you're like an Ohio State Buckeye teammate or something.
Yeah, like he's like a mean dude. He's out there just like mean mugging
Yeah.
everyone the entire day.
Yep. He was walking off the practice field, mean mugging just life. And I saw some media members be like, "Oh, Draymond's going. Let's go get him." I'm like, you guys aren't getting him. He just walks right by.
There was somebody, I can't remember who it was, which is probably a good thing. But yesterday, somebody, I think it was one of the radio guys, was like, "Hey, you have a minute to talk?" just like looked, didn't even say anything. Just kept walking.
Yeah.
Like not even like, I've got to go lift. Or like, no, just like kept walking.
It's super funny until it's you.
Yeah.
It's like,
All you got to do is learn your lesson once, then you won't be embarrassed again.
That actually has not happened to me this year.
Wow.
Curious to see what happens in an open locker room when you can't just walk away.
He probably just will not be there.
Oh, that's true.
They
yeah.
open
In
the
the
door,
cafeteria,
see the media, close the door.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm cool with it if he's going to be that mean to the other team as well.
Definitely.
Yep. Wrapping up the front seven. I mean, Baron Browning, there was like one sack where Dak just kind of got caught in the pocket.
Yep.
I'm going to give credit to him. There was a big TFL from Alex Singleton with the twos.
Same with Josie.
Yeah, just blew through the line and was like, oh, yep, touched him, then just kind of like kept running and play kept going for like 3 seconds because the guy kept running. I think that's it for the front seven. From there, I mean, Surtain was good. They got beat up in the slot.
He gave up one catch to CD.
Yep.
Which was a really good performance.
Yes.
To me, that was my biggest takeaway from the defense. The defense won the day by far on the offense, except for CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb did whatever he wanted on the Broncos defense.
Except for when Pat was guarding him. Like, he got one on Pat, but the rest of the time, Pat held his own.
And it was like a 20-25. I mean,
Yeah,
it was a really good play. But then Michael Ojemudia just got picked apart by CeeDee Lamb. And so
It's not a fair matchup.
It's not a fair matchup, but both of the cornerbacks that were out have some injury concerns, specifically Ronald Darby. So it does make you nervous. And I was so high on OJ coming into training camp just with how he did in the offseason. And it just come back to earth a lot.
Yeah, for sure. CD did have back-to-back drops to end practice. So that's a tough break for him. One was I guess you give a PBU to Justin if you want. He got his hand in there and I think actually knocked it away. The Cowboys fans were saying he caught the ball and was down. He was not. And then the next one was just a clean drop. And I think that was their last offensive play.
In a game, I feel like CD would have had like 14 catches on 17 targets.
Well, yeah. I just think in a game scenario, the Broncos would have said, like, okay, Pat, you're not leaving his side.
Yeah.
I hope that's what they do, but I feel like it's easier to say that, and then coaches just don't do it as often.
It is weird seeing that Cowboys offense with, like, CD. Remember, at one point, CD was the 3 for them.
Yeah.
Now he's, like, the bona fide 1, and there's not much else around him.
Noah Brown, I think, did it just as much as CeeDee Lamb. And it was mostly just taking advantage of the slot. Like, there didn't...
See 85?
Yeah. CeeDee had the big play, which I guess is clear separation. But Noah Brown working out the slot, like, Bassey could not keep up with him. I think he got Stearns once, too. But I mean, even with CeeDee, like, they moved him into the slot. The one downside for the Broncos defensively was the move the ball drill, where they went all the way, probably 60 yards, 65 yards. It was something in there for a touchdown that ended with a 25-ish yard touchdown on a post. Thank you. I was trying to think, what is that thing he runs towards? Yeah, a
Skinny
post.
post, really.
To CeeDee Lamb, who just ran past Ojemudia, which is what happened. But on that drive, he also lined up in the slot and just 2 slot slants back to back, just 10 yards on each to move the sticks.
I think the slant is criminally underutilized in the NFL. Like,
that's what it looked like today.
Yeah, it's just like, especially if they have to worry about you going deep at all ever, the slant should work like 9 times out of 10.
It seems like the Broncos are going to utilize it from the way training camp is going.
Yes, and they should.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton, I mean, he could have had 100 slants today if they wanted to throw them to him because Joseph, who did a great job on him on the deep routes, part of it was because he was just giving him so much cushion.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like you said, Henry, that was the one disappointing thing because they were happening at the same time, the move the ball. And the Broncos get a long field goal but wouldn't have in a game, in my opinion, because of Micah Parsons. And the Broncos defense gives up a huge touchdown or a touchdown drive to the Cowboys. However, in red zone, the Broncos defense dominated. Just as many the Broncos were scoring touchdown after touchdown on offense. On defense, there were no touchdowns scored by Dallas.
Was there one for Dalton Schultz?
Was there one?
I think there was one for Dalton Schultz.
And how many did we say? 5 or 6 for the Broncos?
Yeah. 3 straight at one point.
Yep.
That's when Justin Simmons.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that was in the
red zone.
It was the red zone move from the 25.
Yeah.
And it's such a bummer because it would have just been like an easy way to be like, and this happened, and that was like the final punch. But despite a lot of media members thinking it was a pick, I am 99.9. I've only come back 0.01 because I'm further away from the experience now. But at the time, I was 100% sure. Justin jumps in the back of the end zone, gets both hands on the ball, and as he's falling, just drops it, hits the ground, and then he kind of rolls over and picks it up. So a lot of people, like if you weren't behind the play, there's no way you would have known that he didn't take it all the way to the ground, but it was a little bit of a bummer. And I think the reason why everyone was going crazy is because it was either third or fourth down. So it was still a stop.
Yeah, and after doing more research, because I was on the other side where you said you can't see it and it looked like a pick and the crowd reacted like it was a pick, I do think it was dropped.
Yeah, and I'm willing to take your word for it.
You're right.
You got video research or what?
I just did my research. You know?
Okay. Okay.
Aaron Rodgers.
There were like 5 of us standing at like the 50 as far up as they let you go. And so like we could all see him like it hit his hands and it fell out of his hands. But then everybody around me was sure that he had like got it again on the way back down. And I was like, well, like they looked at me like I was dumb because I was like, did he catch that? And they're like, yeah, he caught that.
That may have been the loudest the crowd was all day too.
Yep, it was sick. It would have been a great pick. And Justin is so good at that. Like in that same spot, he's gotten his hands on the ball 8 times in camp.
And Bradley Chubb was within arm's length.
Yeah, back of the end zone,
it.
just kind of like policing the back of the end zone. Anything that's coming in there, he's going to break on, and he just day after day is making plays on the ball there.
Yep, completely.
All right.
I think that covers it.
Yep. Ooh, bless Austin. Really great pass breakup. That's my last note.
Fan Hicks had one
and
too.
Damari Mathis. Did you see the one in the back of the end zone?
No.
Oh my goodness. He jumped up. It was in that same drill. It's 1-on-1. Jumped up, like diving backward, gets like a fingertip on a ball, bats it like over the back pylon. It was an incredible breakup.
Oh, that was the very far corner.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't see because a bunch of people stood up.
Yes.
He's having a fantastic, last week, 10 days.
Yep.
He just looks like solid.
And that's what he was for the first week.
Yep.
And then he has kind of upped it and it's like, oh, interception. Oh, big loud play there. He's really good.
Yep.
All right, let's give a shout out to Green Mountain Dental Group. Several listeners have switched over. Several people that work in the office have switched over. And everyone has great things to say about Green Mountain Dental Group. More than anything is just the vibe there. Like, it's a family-owned dentist group. They treat you like family. They act like a family. And a lot of the family works there. So check them out. Great practice just outside of downtown Denver over there in Lakewood. It's like a 15-minute drive. Beautiful drive, actually, up the hill there. And if you need a new dentist, you've moved to town, or you don't like yours, check out our friends at Green Mountain Dental.
Absolutely. Quick update on if the starters are playing. Nathaniel Hackett said he wanted to watch the tape today and see if they were going to play. My guess is the big-time guys are not going to play, but we'll see.
Who is the biggest name that plays?
Oh,
If
man.
Melvin was healthy, I'd say they give Javonte some run.
If Tim Patrick was healthy, I'd say they give Jerry Jeudy some run.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna say
Jonas Griffith?
Oh, that's a good one. I think we might be able to go a little higher than that.
It's not Kareem. It's not Surtain. It's not Simmons. Assuming they're going that direction.
I mean, how big of a name is Calvin Anderson? He's your starting right tackle.
Not a big name. What about Josie Jewell?
Just because you want that chemistry?
Yeah, he's not playing.
Okay.
I don't think so. Boy.
Then it's probably got to be a receiver. KJ?
I don't think he's
good
to go.
Oh, right.
He's trying for week 1.
They're taking him really slow. A quick update, Melvin Gordon has a foot contusion. So that's actually way better news than it could have been.
Everybody's getting contused.
That was funny. That was
I got like 4 likes on that tweet.
What is it? I think that's their way of saying lower body injury.
Contusion
like
just means bruise.
Yeah, exactly.
It just means bruise. It's the big word for bruise. It's literally the definition.
Yep.
Really? I imagine like something.
No.
I imagine contusion has a protrusion. Like there's like a bump.
No. Well, yeah, that's what happens with a bruise. Sometimes you get a little bump.
Yeah, but
Yeah. A region of injured tissue or skin in which blood capillaries have been ruptured. A bruise.
yeah, a bruise.
Yes.
It's like it's the tough guy's word.
It's
Bruised
like broken and fractured.
Bruised foot shouldn't stop you.
Oh.
from practicing with the Cowboys or
Yeah, I agree with
from,
that.
from playing the preseason game.
What? I feel like it wouldn't even hurt.
I think it would probably hurt.
Probably.
Because at some point he said, "Hey, is there something wrong with my foot?"
For what it's worth, I'm not questioning his toughness. I'm questioning the injury report.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll follow. I mean, you would think that in a week he'd be back practicing, so we'll see.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Biggest name though? Are we done with that?
We didn't.
I think so.
We didn't have a good.
We
answer.
didn't name
Yeah, I
anybody.
thought it was honestly too good of a question.
We gave up.
Yeah.
I want someone to say that to me in an interview once.
What if all the starters
That's too
just
good of
run
a
out
question.
there?
I don't even have an answer for it.
Maybe all the starters are gonna go out there and we're gonna sound dumb.
No. Nathaniel
Okay.
Hackett has been very
Okay.
against that.
So like, what would you set the odds on for Russell Wilson 1 series?
Boy, I would say Russell Wilson 1 series plus 200.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah. I think there's a chance.
I'm more
Plus
like plus
300.
500.
Here's my thing that I think could happen. The first team was so good today that they go to Nathaniel Hackett and they're like, "Bro, please let us go beat up on the Cowboys in front of our fans." And he's like, "All right, fine."
It wouldn't be the first team. It would be Russ.
I don't know if we talked about this yesterday. Maybe we did, so I'll just say it quickly. Hard Knocks. They're just playing football at
Yep.
their practice.
Yeah.
Yep.
I couldn't
Oh my
believe my
goodness.
eyes. I didn't even know it was allowed.
So I got out there. We don't need to go down the whole story. I was waiting a half hour for Dak to come out of that thing because he warms up by himself. Weird. Standing next to all the Cowboys guys, and I was just talking with Cowboys guys, and I was like, "So have the Cowboys like tackled in practice?" He's like, "No." Like, no, of course not. And I was like, "Oh,
A
it's
lot of
just
people are
weird."
thinking you're an idiot today.
Yeah, all these. I'm not a fan of the Cowboys media, but
That's not surprising.
yeah, that isn't. But yeah, and I was like, well, they did on Hard Knocks, and they were all just like, well, I mean, that's just for Hard Knocks. And it's like, well, they're just recording practice. Like, you think they're taking guys to the side and tackling, but that's not the point. The point is that is weird that they are tackling.
Yeah, and I loved what Dan Campbell said about it. Like, it's definitely some like hardo bro science, but he's just like this will harden you and prepare you and actually help you get injured less if you hit in training camp. And I'm just like,
If you
hey,
make it to the season.
yeah, but like I don't know, I have to imagine practicing tackling makes you better at tackling, even if you're a professional football player.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dan Campbell's answer for it's really stupid, but the fact that they're doing that is the biggest part of the game on defense.
100%.
And you don't do that ever until the regular season, except for 3 times, and your starters may not ever do that if they don't play in the regular. It is a little mind-blowing.
And he was very honest with the team. He's like, hey, if I thought that I could get you guys where you need to be by never even putting the pads on, I would do it. Like, I care about you guys a lot, but I think this is the best path for us being good.
Side note, Jamal Williams' big speech saying we're not a 3-win team. They're a 3-win team.
Nah, they're 6-win
They're a
team this
3-win
year.
team.
I don't know. They got Jameson Williams, who are number 9, baby.
Dude, I cried.
Eventually.
I shed a tear on that speech. It was that good.
Wow.
But you didn't buy it.
No, I bought it.
Oh, okay.
They're doubling the win total.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
All right, Cullen for Mullins comes in. Please don't tell me I'm the only one who just made the connection between Walton and Walmart.
Oh,
You are.
No, buddy.
Yeah. And then the 70 billion just came out of nowhere, Cullen.
13th richest American.
No, I mean, he's
Yeah.
just saying, like, he didn't think about the name being just Walton Walmart.
I think he didn't
Oh.
also build the connection between the two.
Either way, only one. Love you, buddy.
Melbourne Bronco says, my boys. Also, Cullen for Mullins, give us a poem,
Wait,
please.
wait.
Love you, Cullen.
Oh,
from
yeah.
Mullins.
I thought that was Melbourne Bronco for a second. I was like, okay, if you're from Australia.
Oh,
No.
fair.
But no.
My boys, hypothetical question. You can't answer. It just won't happen. We get to the end of the season. Broncos finish 7-10.
It
Why
just
are we
won't
doing
Just
happen.
won't happen.
It's not going to
Just
happen.
won't happen.
Missed the playoffs, and Russ had a mediocre season and hasn't had his contract extended. The Walton Penner Group decided to open the checkbook and throw $60 million a year to question mark. Personally, I think we're on the verge of becoming a powerhouse franchise. The next 20 years will be awesome. Cheers. So,
Tom Brady.
oh God,
I mean, how many? I don't think there's like a big option
Yeah.
here. I don't even who would
Kirk
be available.
Cousins.
Yeah.
He would love that. Oh God, don't make me think of him. Like Rodgers already did his deal.
Yeah.
I mean, and there aren't many options.
Who is available next year?
No one. No one's ever available if they're good.
I think these owners are going to be really good, but we don't know for sure that they're not insane. So who knows?
I do think like there is a potential there. Like, hey, like, don't we have to see if Russ is good at the Broncos before we extend him? Like, I would just hope someone's like, no, you have to have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Lamar Jackson's a free agent
No, he's not.
I'm all in.
next year. Quentin Nelson
all
as
in.
well. So the Broncos throw $60 million a year to Quentin Nelson.
If Javonte goes for 2,000, why not?
I would legitimately rather give $60 million a year to Quentin Nelson than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would pay the 60 mil to
Probably
not
would,
have
too.
him.
Arvada Luke, fellas, deregulate sports that are really hobbies. Wow. Oh, that was what was that? That was my take. We shouldn't have like regulated lawn darts.
Wow.
No one would try to standardize the smorgasbord of house rules in the beer pong ecosystem. Why be so self-important with others? I guarantee you there's professional beer pong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with rules.
Hashtag Peyton for Prez. The relationship we as Broncos fans have with Josh Allen is so funny to me. Is he a local guy?
Wyoming.
No.
Yeah, no, he's not a local guy.
The relationship that I think we have with him is like, we're sad that they didn't pick him instead of Bradley Chubb.
And also kind of in the backyard for college, not local, but he was in the backyard for college. And he just kind of seems, when he was coming out, like a very likable guy.
Yeah, he also seemed really soft.
I do
Yeah.
not
Not
have
to be
that
true.
attachment, by the way. Just
You don't-
throwing that.
you
out
don't
there.
like him?
Oh, you're not a
I'm just
Coloradan.
True,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Get out of here.
In my opinion, Wyoming might as well be Montana.
See, and it might as well be a Dakota. It's a terrible state. I mean, it might as well be Eastern Montana. I'll give you that.
I'm not hating on Wyoming, but
But you're about to hate on Wyoming.
it's so windy. How
It
would
is.
how could anyone choose to live in a place that's so windy all the time?
And
That's
they
why
do.
not many people live there, Ryan.
That is true.
I did recently figure out it's like Montana in that there's like this sliver on the west side that's dope, and then there's 90% of it where it's like this is hell.
Lake Glendo, fire,
Wow.
absolute fire.
Sounds fake, but
No, it's
I
real.
trust ya.
Like a TV
He
show.
finishes and said, I just remember knowing about him, kind of wishing we drafted him, to him beating the Patriots in the playoffs, to the Bills being seemingly the only answer to the Chiefs in the AFC. I consider myself a diehard Broncos fan, yet I own Bills Zubaz pants. Weird. He'd be cool. He'd be a cool Denver QB, which got me thinking, who knows? If you told me in 2010 that we'd end up with QB and Peyton, who was undefeated against the Broncos in the playoffs, I'd call you overly optimistic. If you told me in 2015 that we'd end up with a QB that beat us in the Super Bowl 2 years prior, I'd take your car keys away. See you guys at the tailgate. Hell yeah. Cheers, Arvada Luke.
Well, there we go. I love it. If Josh Allen is the Broncos' next quarterback when Russell Wilson hangs it up, sign me up.
Oh, that would be epic.
Yep.
Next one coming in from Samuel Bisu. He says, I just finished listening to the podcast and remember that last week when I was in London, I saw a Nashville spicy chicken stand next to the Tower of London, and it reminded me of you guys. I didn't eat there, but looked great. No question today. Just wanted to share this with you guys. One more thing. Why am I not surprised that the only member of the media that welcomed the new owners before asking his question was Zach? Zach is the man and definitely not Chris Bosh. Hey!
Oh,
There we go, Samuel, my guy.
What a weird thing to say to Chris Bosh.
Yeah, I
in the
know.
flesh.
No, I forgot I was going to call you CB all day.
Yeah, you forgot because I'm not.
You're the only one who said, what did you say? Welcome to Denver?
Yeah. Or I said congratulations or something
Oh,
like
okay,
that. Welcome
okay.
to Denver.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, what
I
a
like
guy.
that. I'm going to steal that.
Thank you.
I'm shocked Troy Rank didn't do it.
Hey, Dalton.
yeah, he
Welcome to
does do
Denver.
that.
Big Hank stand on rice cookers. Get one. If you can afford it,
Oh.
get one with a pressure cooker and induction heating element. That would be an instant pot. You can make rice quickly and it will hold warm all day. I'm a daily home cook and have been making rice for 30 years, and this appliance has totally rocked my world, helping me to realize the rice I thought I was making well was absolute garbage. Thank you. I recommend the Cuckoo brand. They are
Ooh.
standard in Korea and worth the money. To that end, if you could spend 2 weeks traveling around in Korea and eating the bleep out of delicious Korean street fare and drinking your weight in soju with any Denver Bronco from the Super Bowl 32 squad, who would you pick and why? Love Hank Stan. Shannon Sharp.
I was going to say Shannon Sharp. Yep.
Man, but you're drinking your weight in soju. I'm going to have to go with John.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna have time, baby.
I'm still
We're gonna
picking
have
Shannon. I'm picking Shannon for sure.
Fair.
John's tempting.
Yeah. He's John Elway.
It is John Elway.
Romanowski.
Oh boy,
I don't. We're getting into some trouble there.
that may get you into North Korea
definitely
or
in
something.
jail, yeah.
We won't lose whatever happens, though.
That is true.
Next one from Seymour72 says, "Gentlemen, greetings from the so-called west of tiny England." Hank, look up the country of blank.
Gloucester.
Yes, Gloucestershire, and you'll be the judge. 2 things today. 1, grilled American cheese is 10% as good as grilled halloumi cheese at best. Get some halloumi on the barbecue.
We're barbecuing cheese now?
It feels like it would slide right through. And
Have you ever had smoked queso?
no.
It's so good.
That sounds good. 2, with training camp drawing to a close, I want to give a shout out to RG for the brilliant DNVR Spotlight videos every day. The shot variety, the editing, the slow modes of music, the Italian opera music on about day 2 or 3 was genius. The different stories each day, Romy popping up at random, RG's outfit coordinating, sunglasses, lenses, all hugely appreciated. Thank you, RG. At all the best, Christopher. If Zach ends up reading this comment, it's pronounced Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire. You were right there,
I was
C.
pretty
Fillmore.
close. I was thinking, like, just based on the spelling, it's got to sound like Worcestershire.
Right.
I just pulled it up on a map. Fairly west, I'll give him that. But the towns in England, what the hell? Ledbury, Hereford, Ross-on-Wye, Stroud, Titbury, Chippenham, Bath,
It kind of reminds me
Midsummer
of
Norton.
the names of their food.
Right. Yeah.
Kidderminster,
Like spotted dick.
Yes,
Church
exactly.
Stretton.
Nash Bronco says the place to get Nashville hot chicken would be Prince's, where it was first popularized back as early as the 1930s.
Ooh.
The founder of the place was apparently a womanizer, yikes, and after a late night of not being with her, his then girlfriend made him some fried chicken with extra cayenne pepper on it as revenge. Instead, he decided he loved it and was one of the first items available from the barbecue shack he started.
That's messed up.
Wow.
First of all, that's the one place I didn't make it to of like hot chicken places while I was out there, so it's definitely on the list next time. The problem was it's like we didn't have a car or anything, and it was like the one that was open was like 30 minutes out of town.
Also, wouldn't the technology have updated in the last 100 years? Like
what?
you'd think like the most recent chicken sandwich would be the one where it's like you're pulling from everything and bang, this is the best one.
No,
I don't know.
recipes that don't
Food.
use technology.
Yeah.
They just ate like bread hundreds of years ago.
Right. Well,
Things
then
have gotten better.
No, just taste buds developed, and so they wanted more things with more flavor.
Drinking that athletic greens.
Yes.
The adaptogens.
Adaptogens. What was the other thing I was going to say about that? Oh, if
You won it.
If it was the other way around and I was that guy in that position, the girl would have actually made me the chicken with no spices. That's my punishment.
Just be screaming.
And you would have never shared it with the world.
Yeah, I'd be
No.
like, this is terrible. I'm sorry. How observable are the difference between head coaches in a joint practice like this? Can you actually see how Mike McCarthy leads versus our boy Hackett? No.
If you wanted to, then you could.
Yeah,
But that's just not worth
I'll
the
be
time.
completely honest. I did not. My eyes did not go on to Mike McCarthy one time today.
I forgot he was the
You
coach
know-
until the joke earlier.
Like if he wasn't there, I wouldn't be able to tell you if he was there or not.
No, 100%. And also Nathaniel Hackett was very much the play caller today, so he's dialed in on that.
For sure.
Next one.
Finally, he says, as a Star Wars fan myself, I couldn't help but love the interaction RK shared yesterday. I couldn't help but love it either.
Broncos 502 says, RK, medium saucepan, add the amount of rice you want, and then
do this.
add water.
Why would
How
I do
much
that? I
water,
have a
you
rice
ask?
cooker.
Stick your finger into the rice, touching the bottom of the saucepan. Fill to the first line and inside of your index finger closest to the rice. Heat high to start boiling, and then reduce to once it starts boiling. Let it sit like that for 20 minutes. Rice will be perfect and fluffy. He never said take your finger out. So I'm just imagining the water is boiling. Yeah.
Wow.
He goes, what's the plan for Nashville?
Hold on, really quick. Why would I ever do that when I have a rice cooker?
And okay, my thing, someone mentioned this earlier, like was coming after me, like you have to have it in a rice cooker. I'm sure it's great in a rice cooker. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't have one.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah, if you have one, you would never cook
And
it.
microwave rice is great too.
Yeah, exactly. Right on.
Yeah.
He goes on and says, what's the plan for Nashville? Living in Louisville, I absolutely have to be there. Last question. Where are we sitting for the game? I'd love to sit with some fellow Broncos fans. Can't wait to see you guys in Nashville.
Yeah, I have no idea what the plan for our seating arrangements at any of the games we're going to would be. Like, how many media passes are we getting? Who's sitting in the? Is anyone sitting in the stadium? Like, I don't know. Other than that, all I can really tell you is there will be a tailgate near the stadium or like on the grounds, very close to, if not on. And Saturday night, we're having a big party at a bar somewhere.
Love it.
Lit.
Let's go, baby.
And that chicken place.
Oh, also people are
Church's
talking
Chicken.
about how microwave rice, less nutrients. Just put
Yeah, that may be
Yeah.
like 30 years ago.
I don't care about that.
Well, yeah.
Athletic
I know
greens.
you don't. That was more of a hard
Athletic
sell.
greens.
Drew Peacock says, which player on the roster today is most likely to be the next Trinity Benson, a.k.a. the guy who unexpectedly goes off in camp and gets moved for a day 3 pick? And why is that player Eric Salbart? He's not going anywhere.
Oh, he may be.
No,
Keeping 5.
No, keeping 4.
Cut Beck.
Yeah.
He's the only fullback so far.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. But it's not going to... No.
It's going to be both your
Yeah,
Erics.
He's going in the running back room. Who's going to go off unexpectedly and get traded?
Jonathan Cooper.
Yeah, why not
That's what I
Jonathan
thought.
Cooper?
Jonathan
Yeah.
Cooper, and I think Malik Reed has actually played well enough recently that he's off. He's off of the potential trade candidates list.
Yep.
I would disagree. Nick Bonitto, Baron Browning is your 3-4. If Randy Gregory's healthy. Randy Gregory needs to be back to full health.
He
One
was
of-
healthy enough to get in the mix today.
Whew. Yes, he was. I mean, he was all up in the Cowboys, giving them hugs. The coaches are telling him, get the F out of here. And he was
Oh.
just staying with the Cowboys players. He was having a great time with the Cowboys, and the coaches did not, the Cowboys coaches did not like it.
Well, then he was in the mix on some fights.
Yeah.
And then he went back to hugging.
Yep.
Also, he
Complicated
apparently
individual.
still does not have a great relationship with at least one reporter from Dallas.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, there's at least one though. That's where I thought you were going.
Yes, I saw that
Yes.
as well.
What?
Just as he's walking into the Broncos facility, there was a Cowboys reporter that had been waiting there probably forever to talk to him. And Gregory just walks by and says, "Oh, can we talk to you?" And he says, "No." And the Cowboys reporter says, "Oh, come on, we're here." And he says, "I'm not falling for that." And he says, "Not falling for what? You know I won't do that." And he goes, "I'm not falling for that." And
That was not mine.
no, there was
No.
something else.
There was a little back and forth at one point. But
Okay.
we don't need to go into details.
Ah.
Like they weren't like they were 50
No, yeah.
yards away, but yeah, there was a little back and forth.
Wow. Okay.
This
like, oh, I see you.
The Dallas media, like especially Cowboys media, like any New York media, and that's probably the end of the list. But they're just kind of built different.
Yes,
They certainly are.
apparently, and they're not nice.
Yeah. Bronc Oiler says, firstly, I refuse to believe that not everyone has a rice cooker. It's an essential appliance, and
Oh.
if you don't have one, you are wrong.
Wow.
More people are wrong than right then.
All of
That's-
us are wrong.
Probably the way things are in the world. Secondly, I had a couple takeaways from the ownership news. Firstly, I think we got such a distinguished group with the inclusion of Condi Rice, Melody Hobson, Sir Lewis Hamilton. I'm not sure about the individuals that make up the other ownership groups around the league, but I'm sure you'd be hard-pressed to find a more impressive group of individuals. I'm also really heartened to hear that George Payton will be in charge of the football side of things. I know a lot of people are clamoring for Payton to be involved, but I don't think it would be best for him to be, but I think it would be best for him to be in an informal advisory role than being a formal member of the organization. Not to say he's not a team player or anything, but I'd rather not see him in the position where he could be jockeying for influence against Peyton. This is very confusing. A lot of Peyton stuff. And the Walton Penner
Pretty
group.
clear to me.
I
don't
think
know.
Peyton is a little too big and perhaps too opinionated for him to play such a role.
Interesting note. Peyton Manning practice again today. He's been at both practices that the owners have been in charge and have been here, and he was only at one practice before all of that.
And,
Just
yeah.
an interesting thing.
It is
As the friend of the Cowboys reporters, they all said, "Oh, is that Peyton Manning?" It's like he's 15 feet away. Yeah, that's Peyton Manning. Like you know, that's yes.
We should start I'm liking where this is heading, like maybe a feud with the Cowboys media.
Yeah.
You gonna get in a fight with him in the press box?
I'm not gonna start it, but I think one's gonna start.
Enjoy your only time in the press box.
I'm not gonna lose.
Just don't throw the first punch. You'll be fine.
There you go.
Bronc Oilers, also a side note, next time you make a grilled cheese, add some urban garlic cream cheese. Cream cheese makes everything better.
Yes.
And the combination of that with some gooey melted cheddar in between two golden brown buttered slices of bread is divine. If you want to get extra with it, add some bacon and a side of tomato soup for dipping, and it absolutely slaps. Yeah. I firmly believe you could add cream cheese to anything like that. Wouldn't be like totally weird, and it's better.
Of course. Absolutely. Cream cheese on pizza is fantastic.
Cream cheese on a burger.
Yep.
Cream cheese on a grilled cheese.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything. Cream cheese to dip.
I think cream cheese can be the 6th best cheese for a lot of situations, but it's only like top 1 for a couple.
I'm just saying it always, like, you would never say, like, man, this would have been better if it didn't have cream cheese on it.
Right. No, you're not saying that.
Sometimes you get a lot of cream cheese. I actually
you
had a
could
bad cream cheese experience this morning. I went to Starbucks I got a bagel, got some cream cheese. It was weirdly sour. There was something wrong with it. So
you got bad
today's
cream
just
cheese,
not
bro.
the day for me.
I can't
guys
believe
probably right.
I can't believe you'd say that about Melody Hobson today.
Oh, no. Don't
Yeah.
tell. Please don't tell.
Ridiculous.
Melody, it was great. The way it's supposed to be.
She's just on the board?
She's a chairwoman of Starbucks.
What does that, like, what does she do for them?
It's a great question because the chairman of Walmart is Greg Penner.
So you don't really have to do much, because if you can own a whole-ass football team
Yeah.
Apparently not.
while doing that.
No.
Yeah.
Probably just get a fat paycheck.
There's like a meeting once a week, and it's like you talk to the shareholders. You kind of are the shareholders, and it's like, oh, we got to get rid of the CEO, or like, we're good, or like, we got to buy back a bunch of stocks, or like, it's all like,
It's probably not even once a week.
it's like
No,
you're basically
once a
the owner.
quarter.
You act like the owner because there's usually like a bunch of people, a bunch of shareholders. You're basically the owner.
You're the head shareholder.
It's not bad to be that and then the same title essentially with the Broncos.
Oh, and also for Melody, she's also the CEO of Ariel Investments, which I looked into. She's been that for like 22 years. They have $18 billion in like things that they bought. Assets, yes, that's the word. And it's 95% owned by like the board and the employees.
That's
Which,
cool.
and as the chair, that means she has a lot of that. There's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Anyone that's on this board, Henry, has a lot of money.
It's impressive.
Yeah,
It's impressive.
Just wait until they invite me to be the chairman of fan relations.
Dude, they got Steve Atwater for that. What are you talking about? You trying to take Steve's job?
No,
I'm telling.
He works for the Broncos. I work for the ownership group.
I want you guys to fight for it.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Last one coming in from Howie Boot My Booner. Says, gents,
What?
Can you please explain why the Guardian helmets are needed to cover an existing helmet to prevent concussion? That would be like wearing a condom over the top of another condom because the first one doesn't prevent STDs. Don't listen to that. Seems like the hard helmets are the problem, not the solution. What Guardian helmets do, what I was told, they reduce impact and hits by 10%.
Think of it like an airbag. Like it's the same thing. It just slows things down just a tiny bit more during the contact.
I mean, it's really obvious to me. The helmets are hard. The Guardians caps are soft.
yeah,
Right.
So
like an airbag.
They're like it's instead of hard on hard, it's soft on soft.
The thing is, like with brains, there's nothing you can do. Like it's just like, oh, your brain rattled around in your skull. Like that's what you're trying to avoid. And there's like you can't put a padding around your brain inside your skull.
We should make brain airbags.
How far are we from that?
Not that far.
Let's
Let's not dive into it.
If they
though.
go too hard, it's going to crack through your skull.
Well, no, they're just like it's more like bumpers, like for bowling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what a helmet is.
I wonder if we should
No,
call up our
that-
girl Melody, see if she wants to invest.
She probably would. I have another company I would rather her invest in first.
That's true.
He goes on and says, call back to the toasty conversation. As a young lad, I worked at a mountaintop resort in British Columbia, ski resort, as a night cleaner. It had about 6 different restaurants and eateries within the building. One night I was drunk at work and thought I would make the ultimate toasty.
I think this is a grilled cheese.
I think so. I think you're
Yeah,
right.
I don't-
I put 12 different cheeses from various eateries and made a toasty that was at least 2 inches thick. It was not ultimate. The cheese in the middle had not melted and was cold. I struggled to finish it and was very ill afterwards. I also did not go to the toilet for 2 whole days.
No.
Good times. I wonder if
Like-
you also returned to work after that. If you lost your job.
It is tough sometimes to get that cheese in the middle melted.
Was he not like drinking water at least?
I mean, I
That
think
probably doesn't count.
he's only talking about half of
Probably.
bathroom chips.
Unless
I
it really like clogged it up.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Okay.
I think
Toasty's a hilarious word, by the way.
that is, and we're not calling it that though. It's just a grilled cheese.
I hated
like
it first.
Toasty.
I'm
I
warming
kinda
up
like
to it.
Toasty.
Yeah. Makes me laugh every time.
All right. Anything else, boys?
I think that's it.
That will put a bow on training camp for
Wow.
us. And I just have to say, like from a broad spectrum, it was so refreshing to see like what looks like a real football team out there. No like convincing yourself of things. No like having to talk yourself into how the potential of the quarterback could possibly blossom because of that one throw you saw at that one point. It's like this is a team. And even today, I was just thinking, like, what's the best quarterback matchup I've ever seen in a joint practice? Best I came to was Joe Flacco versus Jimmy Garoppolo. Today I got to see Dak Prescott versus Russell Wilson, and it was awesome.
Yep.
And I think this is the end of the first chapter of what's going to be a really fun book this year.
I love it. And a really fun, as Russell Wilson said, 10 to 12 years.
Whatever.
You know what else Russ says?
What?
Broncos Country. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
We will be with you on Saturday after the game. Stay up late with us. We'll talk about everything that happened,
Yes.
whose stock is up, whose stock is down, what it looks like for making the team. Should be a good time. Until then, we're taking tomorrow off, getting some R&R, but we'll catch you guys later.